Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 2 of my Let's Play Birth of America 2 Wars in America. Here is the title right here. We are playing Great Britain. We are playing the British versus Spain in basically what is a war to control Spanish Florida during the time of the American Revolutionary War. They were also obviously or apparently fighting the Spanish over the, and if you can see it in the little jump map, Florida, what is currently Alabama, currently Mississippi, and currently Louisiana on up. We're looking at Arkansas, currently Arkansas to even Illinois. St. Louis is part of Missouri now, so it's in this area, so it's a pretty good size. I mean, this is eventually what I think a lot of this is what we buy when we buy the Louisiana Purchase. We buy a lot of this land from France, actually. I think France somehow takes a lot of this from Spain at some point. And then in the Louisiana Purchase, we purchase it from France when Napoleon was the emperor. I think we bought it sometime around 1815 or so. I'm a little weak on that, on the actual date, but it was definitely a large purchase, and it increased the land for the United States. Probably almost doubled it, almost doubled the area of the United States, and Napoleon was selling it because he needed money to fight the wars that he was engaging in on the European continent. And I think we bought it for $15 million, which isn't that much these days considering how much land is worth, but back in those days it was a pretty good amount of money. Anyway, somebody had mentioned using the cycle through units, E and R. So if I do that, all I get are the 3 militia units that are currently active. Actually, that's 2 militia units currently active. One is in Natchez, and one is in Manchac. It's Tonicus. I don't know what that is called right now in current day. It's right below Baton Rouge, where the University of LSU is. And in case anybody really cared to know about that or not, a lot of probably European people have never heard of LSU and probably don't care to hear about it, which is neither bad nor good. But anyway, I also did this where I was looking at, so this filters fixed units and then all units. So right now it's showing all units. So then if I click that, it shows just fixed units. And so all of these units are locked at this moment. But then if I do this, it says filter, unfilter, unfixed forces. So these are the unfixed forces that we have right now. And then if I click that again, that's all the forces. So if I click that, as you can see, I have 2 militia units or 2 land combat units. That's actually more of a, that says militia and that's regular, but they're both garrisons. And then I have 3 boat type formations that are unlocked. So that's the scenario. 8 turns in, and that's all we have. But they have to come east at some point and try to take Pensacola, hopefully. And possibly at some point we'll get more troops and maybe more formations, or more formations unlocked, even more so than this. But I've got to believe that's going to unlock at some point. And if we look at it, it's all infantry, regular line infantry from the time of the American Revolutionary War. Is basically they would fight in ranks. They had muskets that they had to hand load with the little plunging thing down down the barrel where you would put the powder in, tamp it down into the barrel, and then put the bullet or the round in, and then tamp that down. I'm not an expert on that, but that's basically how it goes. So they get in lines, and they got to the point where they were trained enough that they would have 2 or 3 lines, and the first line would shoot, it would kneel. The second and it'd start reloading. The second line would shoot, they would kneel and start reloading. The third line would shoot, they would kneel or stand. I don't think there's nobody behind them, so they don't really have to kneel at that point. And then they just keep going through that. And that's basically how war was fought for a pretty good while until about the Civil War times, when they started having repeating rifles and the bolt action type things, I think, or they had those paper rounds that they would put in. And I was watching a YouTube video of that kind of stuff, and it was pretty interesting because they were talking about the Prussians against the Austrians in 1866, I believe, and how the Prussians had the rifles that you had a little paper cartridge, and I think it might have even had the bullet in it, and you would put it in almost like you do with a bolt action rifle, but it was a paper cartridge, as opposed to what the Austrians were using, which were the old muskets that they had to hand load and do the plunger thing. So they were showing how the Prussians outmatched the Austrians at that point because of that. So anyway, I know you guys love it when I ramble, and I just did. And that was being a little sarcastic because I know you don't necessarily like it when I ramble, but I do it all the time anyway. That's just who I am. So let's do another turn, and maybe at some point we will have some troops we can move. British defeat. We lost 12 men. There were 12 men. We lost Fort Butte, basically. There's Natchez. It looks like they got some Indians, Native Americans attacking us. And that's what that says. Braves, Raider. So it's a Raider type unit made up of Indian Braves or Native American Braves. And stalemate. We lost 41 men of 160 men. And then there is the main Spanish force. Stalemate. We lost 143 men, about 160. So we still hold the fort, but it's... And then we lose it in the very next round of battle. So let's see what we have here. Spanish, blah, blah, blah. We lost a battle against Spain in Region Tonicus. That's this. And we lost that fort. And then Natchez engaged Spain in Region Ibiza, which is that. It was a draw. That was a draw. And then, of course, Terra Blanche. That was there. That was a draw. And then we lost a battle, and they took that fort. Panmure Garrison is now active here. Well, that's already gone, so. Fort George Garrison received infantry. Oh, it's that right there, that unit right there. Let's see. Spain captured Manchac. All of that in Tonicus, and then they also captured the fort in Terra Blanche. And Pontchartrain flotilla is completely unsupplied in Lake Pontchartrain. And that's because I have nowhere to go with them. So I'm just going to leave them there. And if we look at our units, as you can see, we lost one. And nothing else has activated. So I'm beginning to wonder if this scenario was ever even play tested, to be honest. It sounded very interesting when I was talking about it in the lead up to actually playing it, but there really hasn't been anything for me to do. Now, I'm sure playing the Spanish side would be a lot more fun, but the British side, let's see. It's turn 10, 19 turns remain, and as you can see, I haven't lost anything, but Natchez is under siege. That's Baton Rouge. Here's Natchez. No, there's Natchez. Natchez. I don't know how to pronounce that. It seems like a strange name to my way of thinking, but so another turn. Here I am trying to show you how interesting and fun the game is. And I'm not even getting to do anything. Stalemate. 120 men lost. 30 men lost. But we lost every single man. We literally have no troops sitting there. See, we have no troops. How did they not attack that and take it? Okay, well, this is the total amount of messages we received for this turn. So we're ready to go to the next turn. As I was saying, it's almost, I'm trying to kind of show you what, the fun parts of these games. And I've got this one where I'm 10 turns in and I haven't had a chance to move anything. Okay, here we go. Replacements for British arrive from England. British receive irregular replacements. British receive militia replacements. Spain inflicted 5 hits on our units in Fort New Richmond. Yeah, that's in Baton Rouge. Sir, the enemy is gaining the upper hand in this war. We have lost 1 engagement points. Sir, we have lost Natchez. We have known better days. And as you can see, they took that. And our morale went down to 89. We're still leading in accumulated victory points, but now they are leading us in points per turn, so they're capturing us. Spanish morale is 101. I don't know if I know exactly what I'm doing here, because surely there's not some way that I could unlock these. That Waldeck regiment is German, as you can see, German Grenadiers. These orange are militia. And then these, I think, are the redcoats. Regular English line troops. I don't know how to get them out of there, though. We lost 147 men. Stalemate in Baton Rouge. Okay, now here we go. We're finally active. Well, we're finally unlocked. He's actually not activated. The commander of this deck is not activated this turn. The force can't perform offensive actions. Some special orders are not allowed, and it will move slowly. The stack receives 4 command points from your leaders and needs 11 to operate at full efficiency. Well, somehow I don't believe that's going to actually happen. So it takes 26 days to march from Pensacola to Mobile. Are there any other units that are now active? There are, actually, the 14th Foot and this supply. So what I'm going to do is put them on ship. And I'm actually going to come here to Mobile. It's going to take 32 days, though. What are you going to do? 32 days. 2 days longer than a turn, so it's basically going to take me 2 turns. And that unit is still there. So how strong is this unit? It's basically 20 plus 14 is 34, 46, and then 66, 68. And my army is actually power of 275. So I should be able to beat them if I come up against them. But that is if I'm completely supplied and my cohesion is good. So let's I'm going to save it just in case anything bad happens. Is there anything else? No. 60th received it. That's the Royal Americans. All right, let's go to next turn. British defeat in Fort New Richmond, which is Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge. And he's consolidating his forces. It looks like. So let's see. Baton Rouge. We lost. We've lost another engagement point. So that's 2 cities objectives that we have lost so far. And then, of course, it explains that we lost everything in the Baton Rouge region. And then that is unsupplied there. So this was delayed 4 days, so now it's 6 days instead of the 2 days, and then it will land there. And honestly, I'm almost, well, I'm not almost, I am going to wait. And the reason I'm going to wait is not because of the extra battle unit, but more because of that supply, because I definitely want to have that supply. And what does that say? 62 days. That's 20. And that is transport capacity of 40. What is their weight? Is 37. And that weight is 4. So actually what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to go by ship is what I'm going to do because it'll be quicker, I think. But I think I'll have to go directly at New Orleans if I do that, and it's going to be a amphibious type landing. But this scenario is actually so there is wow. They're moving people all over the place. They got two commanders. Wow. Okay. What I'm looking at there is so they can carry 60 points. And if I merge this with that, their total weight is 53. But this guy sitting there kind of concerns me. I mean, I could go straight at New Orleans. But I don't want them to sneak in behind me and take Mobile or Pensacola. Let's see what he does if I do that. I mean, I don't know of any other way but to go straight at him. My power is 320. I don't think there's any way he could have the same amount of power as I have. But he might be able to outmaneuver me, which concerns me. Oh. Wow, they still have 800 men, though. Yeah, see, he's moved north. So they actually retreated there, even though they outnumbered those units. Power down to 234. "37 days. 37 days. "52 days. That kind of makes me wonder why does it take 26 days to go this way, but 52 days to go this way? I mean, I guess it's probably because the weather might have changed, which makes sense. Let's look at owners of regions. It'll take 33 days. Well, let's look. Points accumulated each turn from cities 8 and 8. I'm just wondering. Guadalajara, Louisiana Artilleria, Artilleria, and Provisiones. That sounds like militia. So it looks like they've got 3 artillery type units and 2 land, combat units, one being possibly militia or provisional troops, and the other being a named unit called Guadalajara. So I'm wondering, I probably should have put them on ships. Look at that. I could have gone up that way. Actually, I can block him moving across this river. Actually, let's see. So he's going to go to there. Let me just redo that whole thing. All right. Let's move him to there. And let's move them, or this unit, to there. So that blocks him from moving across the river. And then I'm going to move here. Actually, I think I'll actually move there as well. Because even though I'll be in this region, I can change my plans on the next turn if I want to, depending on what he does. The British are reinforced in Florida. What? The British are reinforced in Florida, but that is not Florida. That is actually Cayman Islands, I think. Jamaica. Kingston, Jamaica. I believe that's what that is. Regardless, it's way down here on an island. That's not bad though. This 20th Foot and the 27th Georgia Regiment. Now let's look up here, see what's going on. So instead of coming this way, he decided to go that way. So wonder, instead of doing that, 32 days. And then him, he still isn't active. Let's move him back to Mobile. And then we're going to wait on these troops, I guess. Look at the cohesion. The cohesion has really dropped on these. 120. Power of 120. That's what marching through swamps will do to you. Let's go ahead and save that. Hit next turn. I got a bad feeling that this is not going to be a scenario where you win total victory. It's going to be all on points. And if that's the case, let's see. Admiral Raleigh leads squadron to the... Ooh. Oh, wow. That is definitely... welcome. How many days is that? 17 days? Okay, let's stop that. Let's bring him into Mobile. That's 19 days. And then... Hey, he's finally active. Let's click that off for a second. Still 123 days to go that far. Where is that? And he still has 2 days. But even so, with that force over here, I'll definitely be able to... What I can do is I can gather all my troops here, do an amphibious landing here or here. I'm not sure exactly where I'd have to do it from. Probably from here, though. And also use my ships to bombard New Orleans. And if I take New Orleans, that's gotta do something. This icon that shows red, cross swords or cross sabers red, that means no one controls it, because technically it's still in my hands. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. It's in their hands. So technically it's in their hands, but they don't have a garrison, so it is considered uncontrolled. And what uncontrolled means is they shouldn't be getting the points for it. And maybe they're not, because it's still 8-8. How many more turns? It's turn 18. 11 turns remain. So if they don't garrison Natchez, it's going to be 8-8, unless they're able to take St. Louis, which is what. Well, no, wait a minute. They already have St. Louis. No. Unless they're able to take. Yeah. So I'll win on points if they can't take any more of my cities or forts. Fort Mobile, Fort Pensacola. I know it's probably not the name of the actual fort, but I'm just going to use their names: Fort Mobile, Fort Pensacola, and Fort St. Augustine. If they can't capture any of those, then we win on points, probably. But that's not quite what I want to do. I want to actually I want to actually win. I want to win this game. I don't want to outpoint him for... It'll probably say it's a stalemate, even though I have a few more points. And I don't want to win that way. I'd consider it a win, but the game probably wouldn't. So anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. The next episode is probably going to be much more interesting, much more action, because what we are going to do is we're going to load up our troops and we're coming to New Orleans. And so the French Quarter better stock up on some beer or ale or whatever they used to, rum, whatever they used to serve people back in those days, because we're coming. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you next time.